right, welcome to Harmony. I'm Jason Whitlock, your host. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being patient with me and us. We're working out a new way to deliver this content to you all. I appreciate the patience from yesterday. We started out trying to have a conversation about black identity, Dave Shannon and myself. Had some technical difficulties. We're back at it today. We're going to pick up that conversation, but I appreciate you all being patient with us as we try to improve things and give us more flexibility. This isn't, the show's not going to look any different, but what we're attempting to do is give ourselves more flexibility so we can bring you more great content. And so I appreciate you guys remaining patient with us, and you're helping us learn what we can and cannot do, and we think we can do even more. So Dave Shannon is back with me. He's still here in Nashville. Shemeka Michelle is joining us from North Carolina. And Shemeka, maybe you watched a little bit of what we did yesterday, but we're just going to pick that conversation back up or restart that conversation about black identity and whether or not it has any value at all at this point. Dave and I think, somewhat disagree. I don't think it has any identity, and we just need to let it go, leave it alone. That the racialized identity has been framed for us as black people as something negative and demonic and hip hop and just useless. And I don't know if it can be recovered, and I'm not even sure if it should be recovered. We just need to lean into our Christian identity. But Dave, I'll let you respond and kind of reframe the conversation.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things in a lot of people's culture that doesn't need to be recovered. Right? Like the Hatfields and McCoys. There's some things in there that we don't need to recover. What I'm seeing right now, there's a couple things, and this is somewhat of a tough conversation for me to have because I'm struggling with it. I love the things that I grew up with in black culture. I love the food. I love the way that we joke. I love there's certain things culturally that I'm attracted to and that I miss living out in the Northwest, that I realize that my grandkids are not going to have any sort of relationship to. And some of that saddens me. Like they're not going to know. And so I'm thinking about what is it that I'm kind of prepared for them that they need to have is, what do they need to know about who they are and where they come from? And so I'm thinking about legacy over time. And there's a beautiful legacy to black culture because black culture is innately Americano culture, right? Now, it's been ravished, it's been taken apart, it's been destroyed in a lot of ways, but it's pure Americano. Black people are Americans. They're not Africans. They're not, Asians. They're black Americans. They are pure Americano in one sense. And I think it's very intentional to try and remove and destroy black culture, because once they come for black culture and they get rid of us, we're kind of at the gates with a small minority. It doesn't stop there. They've used us in a lot of ways to be a Trojan horse to try and destroy and topple majority culture. And so I think the battle for black culture is essential in one way to America, because if you can't save black culture, if we can't have a revival there, I don't think you can save America.
I think I just disagree with that, because if someone were making the argument, hey, we got to save white culture, and there is no America without white culture, I would push back against that and say, no, I think what you're talking about is Christian culture. I want to save that, and I want more of that. I'm a Christian nationalist, I guess, if they want to say that. Ooh. I want more of that, and there's nothing about white culture that I want to recover, or even think is worthy.
Cracker Barrel.
I don't think that's white culture. That's just good.
It's good Southern food.
Bacon and
it's
eggs.
Good Southern. I think. Yeah, I agree.
And so, let's say someone might say, well, "What about country music?" And I'd say, that ain't white. That's just good music.
So I think I want to define a little bit right here, kind of what I mean by black culture and why I'm connecting it to America, because black culture in and of itself is an offshoot or a spreading out or concentration of Scottish culture, Presbyterian Scottish culture in the South. Black churches, there's a merger between the two. And so a lot of black culture that we have is Southern white culture as well. It's built inside of black culture. And so that's why I don't think you can just untangle it. It's woven together so that the bone, you can't separate it. It's bone and marrow.
Well, you could call it something else, and or call it what it accurately is. What you say, Scottish?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
call it what rather than putting a race on it.
Well, it's merged together. Scottish is a race.
It's not a color though.
No, but I think black culture in itself is kind of has that merger because of the narrative of black Americans. We're not Africans.
I would agree. We're just Americans, and I do think black people's pursuit of freedom and some level of equal opportunity
Yes.
drove America to greatness. I think
We embodied it,
yeah,
yes.
but and it drove like when you have to that fight for black people to have full citizenry and rights and opportunity in America is what created all the freedoms that we now take for granted in America. It made America live up to its best ideas. But what do you do once the government has done all it can to correct those things? And that's where I think we are. The government's done all it can. And so now what we should be in pursuit of is the heart change. And that's a spiritual thing that has no color. The only thing that can improve America is a heart change.
I agree with that.
And so that's all spiritual and it's colorless. And so if you remove, hey, I need some form of black culture, when black culture has been defined as hip hop, black culture has been defined as speaking in Ebonics, black culture has been defined as calling yourself the N word every 30 seconds. Black culture has been defined as don't act white by getting good grades, act black, get bad grades. Maybe we just need to let all that go and focus in on we need heart change, and that's a spiritual, colorless thing because it's the only. If you run out and tell black people and even white people, hey, we need to save some sort of black culture, most people will be like, what aspect of that do we need to save?
Yeah.
We need more Snoop Dogg in the world. We need more.
Well, that's not black.
But that's what's been defined. Shemeka, hop in here.
Lately, Jason, I've been saying that I want to unblack myself simply because as of late, black has become synonymous with acting like an N word. And I don't like that. If you had asked me 15 years ago about black culture, there are things that I legitimately would have said. Just in my city, I would have thought about the Bembe Festival or Chuck Davis or Ernie Barnes. On a wider scale, I would have thought about Motown. Now, today, I'm really asking the question, what is black culture? Because I don't think it's what I thought it was 15 or 20 years ago. When I think about black culture now, it seems very degenerate, and I just don't want any part of it.
I feel like I can say that about America. America is not what it was when I was growing up. It's been hijacked. They took prayer out of the schools. We have people running around here who are guys that think they're girls and they're shooting up schools. We have politicians that don't have to know the Lord anymore to run for some sort of office in politics. The church absolutely is inept and doesn't have any power in the culture and society. Like, we have immorality running rampant in every aspect of American society.
So let me say this. Let me push you a little bit, Dave. Obviously, you heard of the term survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've heard of the term white guilt. I'm hearing from you black guilt because I say that Dave's married to a black woman, got 7 black kids, has his family in Moscow, Idaho, involved with a church and a community that's very few black people. And so by your actions, someone would argue, it's like, man, you done left black culture alone. And all you're really interested in is a heart change, being in a culture that honors God and pursues God. and you have some guilt about that and some nostalgic feeling of like, man, I wish I could be doing this with black people, and that's why I want to hold on to honoring and keeping some of this black culture, but your actions have said, "No, I'm just after a heart change and trying to put my kids and wife in an environment where we can honor God."
I get that. I can see that, although that's not where I'm at. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a point that black culture is a part of our body as a whole as Americans. And what we're doing right now is we see a part of our body that's infected and we're just trying to cut it off. And I'm trying to say, if you cut it off, you will die. It is a part of you. You won't be able to function well because it's a part of you. And that same sort of infection.
Why? God is my provider. I don't need
Because
blackness to survive.
no, it's not. It's not just the blackness. It's all the Christian. The first thing they came for inside of black culture was the church. They've done the same thing. So the model that they've operated in within black culture is the same model they've operated in America to try and destroy it. And so I'm saying that model, if we don't figure out that model and figure out how to survive and fix that, we're going to lose the rest of us because we're already infected. Black culture's divorce rates are massive. 70%. White culture's divorce rates are about 50 or a little more, like 50-50 or something like that. So they're right behind. Like you can't have one go and the other one not go too. I'm saying they're connected.
And I guess part of my argument is I'm good with leaving white culture alone. I'm good with leaving black culture alone. I'm good. I guess I'm in that mindset, and I'm not even saying I'm right. I'm just telling you how I feel. Just like I think that's what you're saying. You're just saying how you feel. You're not even sure if you're right. That's why I'm engaging in a conversation, or you're engaged.
Right.
But so here's what I'm going to say is like there was a group of people here in America that wanted to hold on to their culture because it was American. And you know what we said? We said, okay, you can. We got these reservations. Go sit out there on them reservations and hold on to that Native American culture. The rest of us are going to move on with this Christian culture, and you guys can have these reservations. And that's, I think I'm in that mindset. Like, oh, you want to do black culture? Let's set up some black culture reservations. Go do it. Have at it. The rest of us are going to move on with this Christian culture.
I don't think you can separate those two.
America survived with separate Native American, all that cannibalism and all that worshiping them 20 different
We
gods.
have laws for that. Yeah.
Y'all go do that on these reservations.
Yeah. But
and America survived.
I don't think you can separate the black, the Christian, and the American. Those are all together. In the same way, I can't separate myself from being husband, father, black man, Christian. Right? Those are all my identities. And I think we're trying to throw them off. God didn't make me a woman. God didn't make me white. God didn't give me an Asian culture. He gave me an American culture as a black man in America, as a Christian. And so those are all things that I find myself fighting for. Now, what I don't want to fight for is the filth that has been modeled, like Shemeka was saying, that has been modeled as a type and a form of black culture. That is infection inside of the system, right? And I think we're comfortable cutting it out from America, and I don't think we can. In one sense, is because if we do that, the very exact thing that look, white guys right now are facing all the things that black guys were facing in the 70s: identity issues, father issues, wishing they're looking at it as some form of victimhood right now. I was talking to Virgil a little bit about this, the fact that, we had hip hop and we had punk rock at the same time. And the difference between the two at the time was hip hop went way worse, way south, right? Punk rock, guys got married, started playing folk. Like it changed. They were a different brand. And the difference was you have fathers in the home and a lot of the punk rock stuff that they were rebelling against but wised up to. But the hip hoppers and the black culture didn't have any fathers whatsoever, so they never.
You never hear, let's take the punk rock, and Shemeka hop in here after I say this, but let's take your punk rock analogy. I've never heard white people in mass, 50% of them, or even 30% of them, certainly not 70, 80% of them. Punk rock is white culture. That punk rock is a representation of whiteness. Black people in mass, 70, 80%. Hip hop, rap, that's our culture. That's black culture. You Eminem, you can't even do it. Or this white person, you can't even do it. It's cultural appropriation. This is music I like. It's punk rock, and I like it. They leave it at that. We've taken on these things as that represents and embodies who we are and speaks to who we are. It is we can't handle, and I'm not sure if any human can handle any form of racial idolatry. We have a Bible, we have the Word of God that tells us who we are and what our values should be.
Yes.
I shouldn't let anything else, my skin color, because there are people that make the argument that our skin colors are really all the same, they're just a different shade.
Sure.
And we are the main group and I'm not trying to cape up for white people, but white people have basically said, in my view, in mass, hey man, you adopt these values that we think are appropriate, and we don't care what color you are. Because I would bet that's your experience out in Moscow, Idaho, is that, oh, Dave is sticking to the word that Pastor Wilson preaches. I like Dave.
But that's my culture too.
Yeah. Once Dave, well, Dave is going against what Pastor Wilson preaches and what we're all about out here. Oh, I don't like Dave. That's been my experience.
Yeah.
These neighbors I got out here, we got an HOA, so I don't even have to cut the yard. But as long as I do what everybody else is supposed to do in the HOA, no one has a problem with me.
Yeah.
And I don't play music too loud. No one's driving up to my house with profanity, music coming out of their windows and all that. No one has a problem with me. Then that doesn't mean everybody loves me, and they may want a slightly different neighbor. Who knows? But in terms of giving me any drama or expressing it, I feel very comfortable here as long as I have assimilated to the culture. And I kind of like this. It's not hard for me to assimilate to this culture because I like it. Everybody's grass is cut.
Yes.
No one plays curse-filled music. I don't walk out here and run into weed smoke because my neighbors are out on their front porch smoking weed or whatever. Hey, Dave, marinate, Shemeka, hop in.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what is the black culture when you say that we have to hold on to or we can't get rid of? What is that? And I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out nowadays. What do we consider black culture that you say if we cut it off, we would die?
Yeah, I think it's the very things that, I mean, so I think first of all, there's a different narrative of what black culture actually is and what it actually was. Black culture was integrated into America. It was the kind of thing where, hey, you work, you go to church, you take care of your family, you stay married, and you build, even though you can't vote or things might be against you. It's the American
sorry for cutting
spirit.
you off,
Yeah.
Dave, but I want to jump in and just add this. Here's what black American culture was that I think you're talking about. And it's a repeat, it's restating what I've already said. Black people from the 1600s up until about 1950 somewhere, we were in pursuit of full American citizenry.
Sure, absolutely.
And so everything we want, let me go to World War I and World War II. I want
Yes.
to prove what an American I am. I want to prove I'm patriotic. And that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
We've abandoned that. We're not trying to be the best American citizens. We have no interest in assimilating. Matter of fact, we have interest in, hey man, everything y'all did, everything America stood for, we need to rearrange, redo, redefine. And if someone that looks like me didn't write the Constitution's invalid. When our ancestors before us was like, no, I like the Constitution that Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and them dudes wrote up. I just want to be fully recognized in that Constitution. I don't want to overturn it. I don't want to overthrow it. I want those rights given, granted to me. And white people are saying, okay, we did it. And now shut up and just be American citizens. And we have now moved the goalpost and said being black is being completely different and being in objection to that Constitution that your great great grandmama and granddaddy were actually fighting to have that Constitution represent them. And I'm
No, that's I think that thing, but that's my point. Part of what I'm saying is there's overlapping covenants inside of that black culture. So to kind of help Shemeka think about this, I'm not talking about the current thing that's been hijacked because I feel that same way about America. That same narrative you have about Black America right now is almost the same idea you can have about America right now. Those two things are almost identical, especially when you talk about white liberals, right? Like that's their narrative. And it's infiltrating the rest of America. Now, praise be to God, we have a lot of our white brothers who are starting to wake up and see they're being lulled to sleep, and that the government institutions and education has been teaching them the same thing that black culture got from back in the day about how to hate their Constitution, how to hate being a man, how to hate being a Christian, how to hate fighting and being strong. That's all there. I'm saying that black culture got that first, right? And it messed us up drastically. But whatever we have become is not who we were. And I want to save that, who we were, the black Christian America that wanted to be a part of America, that loved America. I saw glimmers of this recently in the I think it was a Netflix documentary about us going over to win the gold for basketball. And watching Kevin Garnett and LeBron James and these guys all of a sudden embrace a strong American culture over against everybody else was so refreshing. Because for the first time that I had seen publicly, these guys were like, yo, we about to give it to these French dudes. Black French guys. Oh, we about to give it to these guys over here. Black dudes, right? But they were Americans. And that was more important than anything else. Their black American identity was coupled together with America, and it wasn't separate from it. And I'm saying, man, it would be really good if we all of a sudden, I mean, think about how much of a plight black America is right now on America. Like everybody knows the stats. It's bad. Would America look better or worse if that went away? If that actually became profitable for America? Businesses come out of that. Marriages stayed together. Would we be better or worse?
We would obviously be better if everybody valued their American citizenry, if everybody showed gratitude for the sacrifices that were made from black and white people so that we could have all these freedoms. Because, trust me, I'm someone that believes black people were essential for the greatness of America. It would not have happened. But I'm also someone that believes that the ancestors of those black people have been so misinformed or stupid or just whatever that they don't appreciate. They've thrown away their citizenry. They and at some point it's like, okay, you don't respect it, you don't honor it, you don't want to preserve it. Go sit over here on this reservation and do all that black stuff, pro-black stuff you want to do. The rest of us want to go on, or there's enough of us that want to go on and just be Christians that experience freedom and put kids in an environment where they can experience the joy that this world has to offer and the opportunity that this country has to offer, and participate in a process that is somewhat connected to the pursuit of holiness. And I say somewhat only because some people aren't Christians, but even the leftists aren't so stupid that they abandon the covenant of marriage. They participate in marriage, and that's a godly covenant, even when it wouldn't exist without God. Right. So they're in rebellion to God, but in some they're not so stupid that they're like, man, I don't need family, and I don't need a man, I don't need nothing. I can do that. You know, it's. I'm like Shemeka. I'm still not hearing what's left of black culture that's worth preserving, because white people make good fried chicken now too. Uh, so,
Do you? So, are you saying that there's nothing unique at all about Black culture in America?
oh, there's plenty unique.
Nothing that's worth saving to you.
Uh, no, or but keep in mind, I'm just on nothing about white culture. I think is only Christian culture is worth preserving.
Do you think that Asian Christian culture is worth preserving?
Asian Christian culture.
Yes. Do you think that there's a certain sort of Christianity that Asian people have that is?
No.
You don't think so?
That's unique or special. No.
You don't think really, Shemeka? Do you?
I don't know a lot about Asians.
Well, I mean, oh,
I don't know. I do know that those that come here, um, they are very Americanized. Like they love the Constitution. They love the freedom that America has to offer. And I'm not seeing Black people today embracing that. And I guess what I would really say is going back to Chris Rock's whole thing, there's a difference between Black people and N words. My problem is, though, as we try and it's almost like we've become apologists for them. And I think that's why I'm at the point where I just
hmm.
say I want to unblack myself because we don't shame them the way that we should because we are so it's like we want to hold on and nurse them and say, oh, this is still Black. Oh, it's still good. Oh, we still have to keep this. We don't want to let that go. When in all actuality, if we want to be honest, what we're seeing now is not Black culture, but because it's almost married and synonymous, it seems that we have to reject it completely in a sense. I don't know if you're following me, but it's just like because it's so synonymous, I don't want a part of it because it's not what I remember Black culture to be. What I'm seeing today is not Black culture. It's more inward culture, but then again, inward is ignorant. So, like, have we just become so ignorant? And I get upset with those of us who know better that apologize for it or sound like apologists. Like we want to hold on to it because we're afraid that we're going to lose something of ourselves or something from the past if we just completely reject it. And I don't feel that way. I don't think I'm going to lose anything, or I don't think I'm going to lose myself. I'm going to always be who I am, but that part of it I don't want.
I agree with that. Like I totally agree with that, and maybe too some of the things that I'm trying to say that I don't think that. Look, I serve a God that brings dead things to life. Black culture could very much be dead, but I don't think that it's something that can't live again. And just so I know you could get mad at me at this, but and some of the things that I think about as it relates to Black culture, just to give you an idea, is there is a difference even in like I miss Black church. I don't miss the women pastors. I don't miss the rolling out in tongues on the floor and having to. I don't miss the foolishness in the church. I don't miss not having an elder board. I don't miss I don't miss the fact that I want to sing psalms. I actually want to sing the scriptures, pray the scriptures, preach the scriptures. I want all of that, and yet there's something that's there that is attractive, that I'm used to or familiar with, and I reject it all at the same time. But I want revival that. There is a reformed way of that exists. And that's what I mean by with Asian culture. There is a real Christian Asian culture that's not American culture, but it's still Christian. They'll sing some different songs. They'll sing them different ways. They'll have a different liturgy that's about them because of the culture that they're in. And I'm saying that America is unique and it has a multifaceted form of those here.
Those feelings that you're talking about that can come from an authentic church experience are great. They inspire you, they encourage you, they strengthen your walk. But at the end of the day, there has to be a set of values that are adhered to.
I agree.
Or the whole thing just falls apart and it's pointless.
That's why I don't go to a Black church.
Right. So, literally,
that's why I don't go to one.
That's what I'm saying. Again,
Yeah.
it's like if everybody can go to church on Sunday and still see an abortion truck at the Democrat National Convention, parked outside, and say, I'm still good with this. I'm still, yeah, I know they got an abortion truck, and I'm against abortion, but I'm still gonna vote for it. Again, it's like the values are being set aside, and everybody's hanging on to a feeling that I feel close to God here. Someone speaks in tongues, someone catches the Holy Ghost, and kind of acts a fool, and so it's that feeling. But what are the actual values that you're adhering to? And if your church isn't producing marriages, what are you really doing? You're not even creating the family structure that God intended. That's the best safeguard for all these things we're talking about.
I agree with that.
And so it's a high. It's an emotional high. It taps into your dopamine.
I don't like any of that.
But what does it actually produce? Is it producing people?
Okay, can you imagine your favorite, imagine your favorite preacher, right?
Yeah.
And it's within a particular type of style that you didn't grow up with. For instance, I love John MacArthur. He just passed.
Yeah.
Fantastic minister, right? Loved him. When I heard Paul Washer preach, it riveted me because he reminded me of the culture of preaching that I grew up in, right? When you
Philip Anthony Mitchell.
When you hear Vodi Bakum, right?
Yeah.
You get that perfect world of reformed, solid biblically, and then he has that style, that polemic that's kind of like, oh, I know that, amen somebody. There's a different culture that's there. I mean, some of that's even Southern, right?
Yeah.
Southern. So those are all mixed together. I don't separate those. It's all mixed together for me. But that's a cultural thing, right? That's a culture thing that I'm like, right now, my Pastor Wilson doesn't preach anything close to like that, and he's a fantastic preacher. But I would love to have reformed Presbyterian, theonomic, post-millennial preachers that have some of that black church style preaching in it, right? I'm not willing to give up on that not existent. The kind of stuff that shakes your soul, but they're not preaching like that. They're not talking about biblical things like that. And so, like Paul says with the Cretans, they're liars and gluttons, rebuke them harshly, which we should be doing to black culture, rebuking it harshly. But we rebuke it for the point of it coming to repentance, right? And if they don't repent, I'm fine with God taking it and wiping it off the planet, right? But that's not me. I don't get to make that decision. What I want repentance from my kinsmen if I can get it. Repent for forgetting the identities in which God made you and the covenants that he put you over. You have different overlapping covenants. God made you a man, right? That's a covenant reality, right? God made you to marry a woman. That's a covenant reality. God made you whatever, skills that you have in America, right? To this church. Those are overlapping covenants, right? He made you black or white. Made you Scottish. Or he made you Irish, or he made you Italian. There's beautiful things about Italian culture that I don't want to ever get rid of. I love their style of food, right? I love the way that they talk to each other.
Got it, but what if we got rid of the things that made us great and worthy? And again, our relentless pursuit of American citizenship and the fact that we leaned on God in that pursuit.
Yes.
Is what made us
I agree.
Great.
Absolutely.
And we've abandoned that. Now, there's some people out there, because I was, sitting there, there's a pastor, Alton Williams, over in Memphis, Tennessee, World Overcomers Church. It's amazing. He's amazing. It's a predominantly 94%, 95% black congregation. And this dude keeps it real. He's retiring. I'm sure he's going to turn it over to someone that's going to try to continue what he does and has been doing, but it's going to be very, very hard. And it's like, literally, I would drive 4 hours over to Memphis so that I could get that experience that you're talking about. Because just keeping it real, you can't get it here in Nashville. The preachers here, the black ones, are woke, and they're victims, and, they're lukewarm.
Yeah.
And so at some point, and I know your struggle, and that's why I'm having the conversation, because I just keeping it all the way real. I can't get fully comfortable at a predominantly white church.
I
it's
have.
it's a struggle for me, and
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm the least racist person I know.
Yeah.
But
I can. Yeah.
I just it's hard. It's hard, and you know, and maybe I'm not meant to be comfortable because I certainly can't get comfortable at these woke black churches.
No.
So
No way in the world.
maybe I just need to accept that for someone like me, a very flawed person, I'm not supposed to be comfortable in a church. It's probably a good thing that I'm uncomfortable. It's a sign that good things are happening. But I get your struggle, but I am to the point. I just the whole black thing. I'm just over. And you're talking about a guy that since he was a little kid, thought had dreams in my head since I was a little kid that, oh, you're going to be the next Martin Luther King. And now I get to age 58 and I don't even like Martin Luther King. I'm like, I done based my whole life on being MLK and I don't even like this dude.
Yeah. No. Right.
uh, it's hey, Shemeka, we're gonna wrap up here. Final thought from you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I get when Dave says he misses those type things. Like I miss vacation Bible school. I
Yes.
miss the fact that in the black church I grew up in, we sang Amazing Grace a bit different. It was Amazing Grace, a doo doo, how sweet the sound, a doo doo. I miss that. But because my mother and my grandmother are still members of that church, I go there now and it's still full of black people, but it's like God is gone. So
Mm.
now I'm saying, was it that I like God and we just happen to be black doing it? Because now that's what's missing. It's like we have become very godless. And because we've become very godless, those things that I held near and dear to me, they just don't feel the same. And it's not because the black is different. It's the God that's different. And so
Mm.
I'm just like, throw it all away if I have to do that because I can't take what they're serving now.
Dave, I'll give you the final thought.
Man. No, I agree with you, Shamika. If that's why I'm not at a black church right now, that's why I left the church that Sharon's grandmother was pastoring at, is that I had convictions about the gospel of Jesus Christ that would not allow me to stay in the church that I was in. And so I had to leave. And I left and went from the black church I was in to a white church in the suburbs of Minneapolis. And it was the oddest, weirdest thing. And those people loved us dearly. And we developed very strong relationships. And God blessed that. And so we grew and we grew spiritually. Now I'm all the way out in Idaho at a place that I wouldn't give up for the world, right? I love my church and I love my people. Like, those are all my folks. And I'm saying, can we have this somewhere in the middle of where I grew up at? Can we have this type of blessing, this type of godliness in a different environment? That's why I love to see our CRAC church out in DC, right? Like it's more metropolitan, right? It's not in somewhere out in Idaho. And I want to see more of that. I want to see it moved into the inner cities, and I want to see that type of doctrine implement and connect to the culture that's there so that they can come on in, right? I want to see that. I want to see that revived. And so it's challenging, but I know that, you know, whatever happens, if God, whatever he decides to do, I know God can save the current culture that exists right now. And if he can't save that culture, the rest of our culture is damned.
That's our final thought. Thank you, guys, Shemeka and Dave. Thank you, audience, for sticking with us. I think this went well. You guys hit me via email, fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. How was the experience? I'm hoping you didn't notice any change, but this is a new way for us to deliver the show that gives us more flexibility. We'll see you next time.